Excellent. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Avini's Thursday night Zoom call. And I'm very happy to have everybody here. And I'm really excited about what we're about to share with you guys. It's also so important for me. I'm a holistic health practitioner here in San Diego, California. And just if nobody knows who I am, I just want to introduce myself a little bit and tell you a little bit of my history. In 2004, I had a huge tragedy, and I lost my son to actually bad cells in the head, and it was devastating. We were there in the hospital in Florida. He was in a coma on a respirator, and they gave him 3 days to live. So at that point in time, I was just a construction worker. I didn't know anything about health. So I researched, and we flew him to a hospital in Tijuana. And out of that condition, in 4 weeks' time, we got him off of his respirator. He was eating and breathing on his own. Now, that opened up my eyes to what natural therapies can actually do. Standard of care was not sufficient enough because they only gave him like 3 days to live, and that his organ system would have shut down, right? So it cost me about $15,000 to fly him over there, about $5,000 per week to have him there. I mean, I would have spent any money whatsoever. Okay. So what occurred, we did an MRI before we did an MRI. There's just a tiny bit of dead bad cells left on the brain. And we decided, because we didn't have much choice, my money ran out. We took him home, and we were doing, instead of IV chelations, we were doing oral therapies and so forth like that. But it just came to a point that I really opened up my eyes what natural therapies can do. And so what occurred with him was the bad cells came back and took him out. On this call, we do not advocate curing of any disease. We do not advocate, we don't diagnose, cure, or treat any disease whatsoever. What we do, we give natural things to the body, which help the body recuperate back to where it's supposed to be, back to where it is healthy. Okay. So now, that is the important part of this here, is that I've been studying since 2004 about this area, not only this area of bad cells, but area of all kinds of things that happen, blood circulation, heart issues, all kinds of different things. And I only grab onto the most cutting edge possible things that there is in our society, that other physicians, doctors, chiropractors use. I just latch on. I bought myself a $12,000 laser to help people, okay, when I was in practice. So that is my story. And today I want to introduce Dave Johnson. He is the leader, one of the biggest leaders in our company in Avini. The reason is because he's one of the hardest working guys that I know. Every time I call him, he's available to help, and he has helped many people that come to me, and I ask his advice, and he helps continuously. So Dave, I'd like you to unmute yourself and come on board, and please share us with your story and why you get excited getting up in the morning.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Steve, and everyone. And just so excited to be a part of this company. And I think I've been around, I've been involved with a lot of companies over the years. And I think, oh, wow, what could be the best thing that you or I could do at this moment? And there's so many opportunities out there. And if you think about work, and I was just reflecting a little bit, back in my 20s, I remember getting 1 year, I got 5 W-2 forms in 1 year. So give you an idea of my laser focus at the time. But quickly, I started thinking when I was young, what am I going to do for a job? What would be my best life's work? And I started thinking, well, obviously we got to work. That's the way the world's set up. And not all work is created equal. I was quickly discovering that in the marketplace, some jobs just inherently pay more than others, and that's certainly something that you want to reflect on. But also, some of the things I really got thinking about was why do we work? And also realizing that most people don't like to work. I've heard the numbers are as high as 80% of the people that really don't like their job. And I think that's an important thing. If you have a career, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could wake up every morning and think, oh, wow, it's Monday morning, as an example. And I'm excited because I get to go to work rather than thinking, oh, where did the weekend go so quick? And so that was something that I thought, wow, I want to get paid well. I want to love my job. But the longer you are in life, the more you think, what is my purpose? And I really think the greatest satisfaction where you're making the best difference and just the greatest joy is giving joy to another human being. And so just being a difference maker. And so I think the ultimate definition of success in work or in life or anything is just the greatest good that you can do to the largest number of people. And reflecting on that, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do out there? And long story short, I got attracted to network marketing because of that idea of teaching a basic idea and then multiplying it by teaching those people how to teach those people to teach those people. And instead of just linear time, go to work, get paid, go to work, get paid. It'd be go to work by teaching other people to go to work, teaching them how to teach other people, where you could all of a sudden get paid for thousands of hours a week instead of just 40 hours a week. And I just thought, wow. And then tasting that, there's just nothing else out there. And then if you can have that powered by amazing products. And so over the years, I got attracted to health products and became quite the health product enthusiast, like a lot of us. When it really comes down to it, uh, seeing the power of what a good product could do for people, often give them another chance as far as their physical health. And so I've just had so much fun. And we've done really, really well over the years. But then also, I've been very frustrated over some of those years too, because of the owners of companies where you're thinking, wow, I I want to have the ideal circumstances, but what if somebody else is controlling those? And that was something that frustrated me about 6 years ago, where I was on a decline with a company. I was still doing really good income wise, but on the other hand, it felt more and more like an annuity for work that I had done 20 years earlier. In fact, the high water mark was 20 years earlier than that, getting very frustrated. And then to add to that, my doctor informed me that they'd found 5 lesions on my prostate, and they said, these are the things you're going to have to do. And I'm just thinking, no, I'm not, there's got to be something else out there. Just now, knowing, being older and just looking around, knowing people that are no longer here because of that, looking at my folder and thinking, there's a time bomb in me. I got to do something, but I didn't want to be damaged. I didn't want to go through what you could call the entertainment value of going through those procedures and coming out worse. I just there's got to be something else out there. And I got reacquainted to some of my old friends that I'd met 20 years before in the wonderful world of network marketing. I discovered that Chip and Marcy had had a similar challenge years earlier. In fact, their circumstances were even more dire. They were talking about her leaving this world in just 2 months, and she got on a product. And this is something, a version of this has been around for over 20 years now. And way back then, Marcy knew about this product, and just like today, if you look on the bottle, it says take 10 drops twice a day. Well, she got thinking and looking at some of the work that had been done that, wow, here's a fun thought. If some is good, more is better, and too much is just right. And so, and there's a lot of evidence that the bad cells don't like this stuff. And so she just thought, I want to have plenty of it to go around for all of those bad cells. And so she invented something. Which we refer to as the Marcy dose, which is instead of 10 drops twice a day, take 10 drops every waking hour, and maybe even have some on your nightstand. So if you get up and go potty, just relentlessly keep that stuff going in there to feed those bad cells. And so I heard what had happened to Marcy. As an example, instead of being dead in 2 months, she went in and had a PET scan and everything was cleared. And oh my goodness, I thought that signed me up for that. That sounds a lot better. And so I did exactly what she did, along with an earlier version of the mushroom formula that Rick developed. And I was anxious. And so 3 weeks into the program, I asked for an MRI and there was a remarkable change. That was very encouraging. And then ultimately, not quite 3 months, I went in for a biopsy and everything was gone. And so I was able to have a medical reprieve. And at that point, I thought, I got to let other people know that there could be a better way for them. And again, we can't tell people that this is anything, a treatment or a cure or anything. But the fun thing about this product right here is there's a lot of clinical studies and research that if you take this, it's proven to actually enter the bloodstream, go up and down all of the blood vessels looking for bad stuff like lead and mercury and arsenic and cadmium and all of those heavy metals and other toxins. And if you really think on a really fundamental level, if all of your cells were healthy, you could not be sick. It's just that simple. And so all the myriad of problems that we have, they have names of dis-ease. It's simply malfunctioning cells. Because all of the cells were healthy, there would be no dis-ease. And how do you have healthy cells? Give them everything they need. Equally critical is don't give them what they don't need. And this idea that we're being inundated every day, just in our environment, just breathing air, drinking water, touching things, eating food, all the stuff that interacts with our environment, we're giving ourselves bad stuff, and that does not help our body. And here's a way by just going like this. And my goodness, it doesn't even taste bad. Pretty much tastes about the same as water. And and so every time you do that, it's like taking a shower on the inside of your body and rinsing your body simply and elegantly of those bad things. And again, what Rick says, a healthy, clean body fixes itself. So this does not cure or heal. What it does is just allows the body to do what it's supposed to do. You give your body a chance and it will fix itself. And so what got me really excited was of all the things I've represented, this is the most potent, most powerful thing. The best people as far as corporate, the best pay plan, perfect timing, the novelty of being with a company with these products that has an amazing track record that's been proven. But Rick did not want to have his own company. It's a lot easier just to be a vendor and let somebody else have the hassle of running a company. And that's what they tried to do for a number of years until finally the frustration of people driving it off into a ditch. They finally thought, this idea, well, if you want it done right, I guess we'll have to do it ourselves. And so they started their own company not even 2 years ago. And so we've got this really unique situation of product that has already sold millions of bottles over 20 years. It's helped a whole lot of people, including me. And yet it's brand new because we've got the best owners in-house. Here's the biochemist, his own research laboratory, his own manufacturing. They distribute everything all under one roof, so a lot less moving parts than any other company. And they've done it before. So all of us together, it's not our first rodeo. We've been doing this a long time, and now we're doing it with all the right people on the bus and all the wrong people off of the bus. And so I just couldn't be more excited. And we've got several other products that we could talk about too that have all also been manufactured and developed for other companies, but they dropped the ball. And so every few months, Rick gets into his vault and pulls out something that's already a proven winner because it's done product before. As an example, 25 years ago, Rick was the science officer for Rexall, a company that did billions of dollars, and those were Rick's products. And so now he's just tuned them up and made them even better. And this is going to work. It is working, and it's really fun to just be right now at this moment. I'm in my favorite job I've ever had. I'm in my A game, and I'm growing. I think the only way we can be happy is when we're in growing. Growing is better than maintaining. And of course, you really can't maintain. You're either growing or dying. It's more fun to be growing. And so I think we ought to all just go for it. Avini's been the wind beneath my wings, my encore career.
That is awesome, Dave. Thank you very much, sir. Very much. So listen, a little bit of myself. I'm a little bit of a science geek. I like science and I like why things work the way they work. So I'm just going to throw up some slides here. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. The basic of this is that healthy cells, if you have healthy cells throughout your body, you can't be sick. So we do nutrition, we do vitamins, we do exercise, but still we get into unhealthy situations. Could there be an underlying reason why that happens? Yes, toxins. A toxin is a chemical substance which damages an organism. Could be anything. And it interferes with protein synthesis and metabolism. Toxins may disrupt endocrine systems, kidney damage, liver damage. They can create cancer, weight gain, and more. They come from all sides, everywhere. We go outside, we drive our car, we eat. Even rice, for example, has arsenic in it. We are inundated with these toxic and this pollution. And it, like I said, it comes from our food, air, water, household chemicals, and even skincare, even the stuff that tries to make us, well, we want to try to make ourselves more beautiful on the outside. Toxins. Even babies have a hard time with it because the mother, without even her knowing that, has this predisposition to these toxins in her environment, which is she's giving. Heavy metals, for example, like arsenic, cause brain and nervous tissue impairment, autism, peripheral neuropathy. Cadmium nickel can cause emphysema, sinuses problems, and cancer. Carcinogens like cobalt, lead, mercury, chromium lead to more cancer. PFAS, these are things like, for example, in your non-stickware, in your pans that you make eggs in the morning with. And where are these toxins gathering? Everywhere. And where they gather, inflammation begins. And we get sore joints, sore as you get older. It's hard to get up out of bed. Sometimes it's hard even people to step on the floor because they're experiencing so much discomfort. Terrible. Toxins, the cause. Okay. Now, do you know anybody who has these things? Brain fog, memory loss, arrhythmia, kidney damage, liver damage, miscarriages, tremors, weight gain, scratchy throat. Know anybody like that? So what can we do about this? Now, what if there was a scientific breakthrough that was supported by multiple clinical studies that was proven safe to remove heavy metals, VOCs, and PFAS from your body and throughout your whole body? And what you do, you pee everything out. What if there was such a thing? Well, there is. We are a company in the business of removing things from the body. We decrease the body burden with Avini products. Here is the chief science officer, Rick Doug. He is the formulator. He is the master formulator for our company. And this is not only a pharmaceutical biochemist, he is also a nutraceutical biochemist. That means he works in both arenas and he's both fluent. As a matter of fact, the first thing that he's cut his teeth was on research in the chemo industry, reducing the effects of chemo with, very well-known doctors. I think it was in Florida he worked with our Cell Defender. This is the spearhead of our company, right? We use a product that was over 800 years was used in traditional medicine. Why not use something that works? Something that is completely safe, and it has an affinity for toxic metals and low affinity for nutritional materials. Okay, so this is our cage. This is the Z-like cage. You see, sodium, potassium, we put this stuff in there in our cage. So when it goes into your bloodstream, like Dave, when he put it into his mouth, it went actually into his bloodstream. What happens, you see this cage has this beautiful stuff inside that we send into the body, sodium, magnesium, calcium. And we have this horrible stuff floating around in the bloodstream, lead, arsenic, mercury, ammonia, right? And this is what happens. Watch. We transfer the material, the good stuff, out into the body, so we have electrolytes into the bloodstream, and we pull in we pull in the heavy metals inside the cage and they're trapped. And they go to the liver, and the liver sees this. Oh, this is only dirt, so it doesn't even have to process it. So what it does, it just sends it to the bladder, and you pee it out. Isn't that eloquent? Absolutely eloquent, right? So when you put it into your intestinal tract, this is what actually happens. You actually have villi there that are going to absorb the cell defender. And this is the process. You take cell defender every single day. And what it does, it absorbs through these villi. Villi are looking like this because they need more surface area to absorb nutrients, right? So that's why your intestinal tract looks like that. The most important picture in the whole slideshow. Because imagine the cell defender floating around in the bloodstream. It doesn't enter any cells, it just stays in the bloodstream, right? So then what happens, it removes the heavy metals, toxins, and VOCs, thus lowering the concentration gradient of the blood. Well, what does that mean? That means there's just less concentrated toxic materials in the blood and more toxic materials outside the tissue. So this tissue is ready to give up the toxic material from the outside to the inside of the blood. So remember, the first question was, how do we remove the toxic load from 30 trillion cells? Well, you lower the concentration gradient inside the blood of toxins, and these toxins magically drift in naturally into the bloodstream. And that's why you got to keep taking this product. It's a continuous process because it took a long time for these toxins to get inside your body. It took decades. Our company could do really well with just that one product, just doing that, because there's no other company in the world who does that. But now I have shown here on the presentation, I think you can see this, a bunch of other uh, products. And because you've been with the company a little bit longer, know more about them, can you just briefly go over them? We can go other times into more detail of what each one does, but just so people have a general idea of what's happening with that.
Okay, sure. Be happy to. Cell Defender, we've talked quite a bit about that. A lot of us call that the tip of the spear. That's where we should begin. There's so many companies and things that you can do to give the cell what it needs, but we are the takeout company. We take out the bad stuff. So it's fascinating when you look at that. It's a bottle. You're putting it into your body, but it's not giving your body anything. It just puts something there that is going around taking things out, and that's very wonderful. Z-Munity, what Rick found is in doing research with zeolite, that not only takes things out, but it makes things work better, everything. And in some of the earlier studies with using zeolite in animal feed, because it has a protective effect. As an example, if the animal feed gets wet and gets moldy, you can make some pretty nasty aflatoxins and make the animal sick. This has a protective effect. Well, zeolite famously grabs bad stuff. And so it was thought that maybe it grabs good stuff too. And so perhaps putting zeolite in the animal feed will make that less nutritious. But what they found is that the animals with zeolite fortified animal feed actually had superior nutrient profiles. So it seems to potentiate. And so Rick has added this to pretty much all of the products. So here's an immunity, and mushrooms are famous for helping with immunological effects. And as Rick talks about really well, is it's not a stimulant to the immune system. What it does, it just helps the immune system work better. A lot of that is being able to communicate with other immunity cells and help them identify and target the bad things. And so this product is like Rick says, handing your immune cells walkie-talkies. So it just really improves how they function. So this is not a stimulant. It's not something that will make it your immune system go hysterical. Quite the contrary. With better immunity communication, it'll help with things like, well, a lot of the problems that we have has to do with your immune system overreacting. As an example, different types of allergies, different things like that. A lot of autoimmune problems where the immune system gets confused and starts attacking itself. this having a modulatory effect could actually be a tremendous value. Another thing specifically I think is fascinating is there's a lot of new words that we get to learn, like not just zeolite, but specifically clinoptilolite. And in immunity mushrooms, we learn the names of mushrooms like Agaricus blazei, which is a mushroom that was researched a lot by the Japanese. They were going around the world, and just we've all heard of blue zones, where if you live in that area, the lifestyle, the diet, whatever it is, you're going to live longer. Well, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, it just seemed like an extra protective effect against bad things. And so they started researching and found that there was a unique mushroom, Agaricus blazei. They brought it back to Japan and started really getting carried away with it. And to this day, Japan, it's all the thing over there. They love it, and so does Rick. It's really wonderful. What this is actually 7 different mushrooms, full potency. They're all grown together in a competitive environment, which potentiates all of the active things that are in there, mucopolysaccharides and all of these fancy things that help, beta glucans. All those things they're just supercharged, extra good, and then fortified with the immunity, the zeolite. Now, it's not super micron sized like average size under 1 micron. It's a little bit bigger, which has some other important things. So this stays inside the digestive tract rather than being systemic, and it does a lot of good things down there. A lot of your immune system lives in the digestive tract, and so that is very appropriate. So that's wonderful. It seems to do a lot of other things too. The brain-gut connection, a lot of people talk about just improving moods, different things. Try it, and I believe you'll like it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful product. The next one over, Avini Plus Fiber. When Rick was the science officer for Rexall, he made a fiber product that comprised almost half of the sales volume of Rexall. It's just a big, big product. And one of the most important things that we could do for our diet is have adequate fiber. And not all fiber is created equal. Different types of fiber actually are different types of what we call prebiotic, which feeds the probiotic, which is the bugs. So this is actually, when we eat, we're not just feeding us, we're feeding our biome. The biome is this wondrous ecology of diverse bugs that live inside us. At the beginning, Steve talked about 30 trillion cells, depending on how big you are. There could easily be 30, maybe even 40 trillion human cells, but there could be over 100 trillion bacteria that live in us. So by the numbers and by the DNA, actually, we're outnumbered. But they're a lot smaller than human cells. So, but nevertheless, if we're healthy, you could actually measure in pounds how many bacteria we're carrying around with us. In fact, about half the weight of your stool is bacteria, and it's not just there because it's there. It's actually symbiotic. We actually need it to be healthy. It helps us digest our food, but it actually creates things like B vitamins, neuro things, neurotransmitters, as an example. A lot of that brain-gut connection fits into the bacteria because they make neurotransmitters, and what they're finding is neurological disorders. They might even have unique patterns of what we would say dysbiosis that are unique to those particular neurological problems. Fascinating stuff. And so you can change your whole life by changing your biome. Health, or more versely thinking of it, disease or even death begins in the colon. There's books by that title. And almost always in the standard American diet, you're just not getting adequate fiber or the right types of fiber. So this has been scientifically designed to have the right types of fiber that creates the right type of food for the right types of bugs, and just gives you more natural, healthy biome. Also, we've discovered that if people get on this real consistently, uh, probably the very next day, you're going to be measuring better blood sugar if you're concerned about that. Also, if you take a scoop 15 minutes prior to each meal, everything's just going to burn slower and better. And not only will your blood sugar be better, but you'll probably lose weight over time. So it's something really easy to take. It's one of the best things you can do to have a healthy body is get on the plus fiber. The energy, Avini Plus Energy, if you look at that, you think, that looks a lot like 5-Hour Energy. And it's a similar product, but instead of a bunch of chemicals and stimulants, this is based on some really cool research that was originally done in Russia. There's some of the experts in what we would call adaptogens. Adaptogens are simply substances that have been proven to help the body to adapt to stress, to cope. And so back, especially in the Cold War, when they were trying to win all the Olympics and talk about super soldiers and just optimizing the cosmonauts and everything, they wanted to do that, but not flunk blood tests and things like that. And so it was using natural herbs and whatnot. And so we actually have that formula that's been studied for years, and that's the cornerstone of what makes this happen. Then Rick has added some other things of his own, and so here's something that really can make a difference as far as just helping your brain think, giving a calm energy. It's not most of the energy drinks. They're not just caffeine, but they're synthetic caffeine because it's more stimulative, and they bang you around. This one here, it's just very calming. It comes from there is some caffeine from guarana, which is a little easier, and then they've got theanine and some other things that just really smooth it out. And the next one over, I love sharing with my friends. If they say, "What are you doing now?" or whatever, and I say, "Well, I'm actually, let's see, this coming May, I'll be 74. I'm having a midlife crisis, and I'm beginning my encore career. I'm starting all over again, and I'm selling snake oil." And they laugh, but in a real sense, as Steve mentioned, Rick is not only a nutrition biochemist, but he's a pharmacological biochemist. And one of his specialties, he's one of the leading authorities in venomous animals. And there's some really cool stuff that you can get from well, a lot of our pharmacopoeia is based on berries and roots and leaves and different things that were originally discovered in nature, and that includes animal source things. And yeah, a cobra venom will kill you, but also there's a particular neuropeptide that they've found when it's diluted 10,000 to 1. So the FDA categorizes it as a homeopathic drug that's denatured. All by itself, it has zero side effects or downside, but it has this unique ability to fit into receptors that are in our body that regulate pain and inflammation. And it just does it really natural and elegantly and powerfully, where we've had people that were just really suffering, and they got on this and they had blessed relief and no toxicity, no addiction problems. In fact, as you use it, usually when you start using something, your body begins to tolerate it and build up a tolerance where to get the same effect, you have to graduate up to a stronger drug and all this other stuff that can really mess you up. Pain drugs have some of the most heinous side effects. This has no side effects. It won't do anything bad for you. And as you use it, it actually becomes more effective in time rather than less. So your body doesn't build up a tolerance. It actually likes it. In fact, it seems like after a few months, your nerves seem to actually work better. So that's a big deal. Next one over, nano silver. Nano is a phrase that's overused. A lot of times it's inappropriately used. Nano is simply billionth, a billionth of a meter. 1 nanometer, to give you some reference, your fingernails grow about 1 nanometer per second. That's real little. And usually when you think of colloidal silver, and if you're a health nut, you probably have a bottle or two in your cupboard, but this is different. This is not the stuff that you're making with a 9-volt battery, or as I was reading a study, and a lab bought 10 of the colloidal silvers off of Amazon, took them to the lab and assayed them, and 7 of the 10 were actually ionic silver. And so this is like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Silver can be too big or it could be too small. Too big, the colloidal suspension, these little particles are too big. They don't interact as effectively as they could, but also they're big enough where they actually can get stuck in the body and accumulate to the point where you'll actually become discolored into kind of a smurf. It's not healthy to have silver accumulate in the body. The other extreme, like onyx silver, is so small that it'll actually penetrate everywhere in the body and get inside the cells and actually work as a heavy metal, and it'll disrupt normal cellular biology, and you don't want that either. But this is just right. At 7 nanometers, effectively, what they've been able to do amazingly is engineering these little balls that are about 200 atoms apiece, and to keep them stable so they won't dissolute or aggregate or whatever, they stay uniformly in those little 200 atom balls. They're stabilized with a monocoating of silver oxide. And so it's just very, very stable. That's a perfect size. Give you an idea. 1 drop of this has over 1 trillion of these little silver balls. And if you put them to scale against even the smallest of pathogens like a virus, these are much smaller. And so they're able to physically interact better with bad stuff. And so you don't need as much as a quantity of silver. And yet you've got just an unimaginable amount of surface area contact with the bad stuff. And then what they've also found is doing studies that 100% of this is out of your body within 24 hours, so it won't linger. Next over is Trim Science, and this is a formula. It's a drink mix that's in chocolate, coffee, matcha tea flavor, and lemonade. And you take that, and what we've found is a lot of people that have gotten involved with Avini just taking the cell defender, they're spontaneously losing weight because there's actually a word called toxobesity or obesogens. And not only is heavy metal and all these toxins bad for us and messes us up, but it actually can create obesity because your body doesn't want to deal with it, and so it sequesters it in the fat. And then the body says, leave me alone. Let's just let it stay there. And so the fat becomes resistant to being lost. And if you start losing weight and start, it'll re-release that and you feel bad. And so, wow, you take the cell defender and you can actually help you lose weight by getting rid of those toxins. That's fascinating. The other thing is Avini fiber. If you have a feeling of fullness and you're smooth and your blood sugar is smoother, that's going to help a lot with weight loss. Well, we have a triad that we recommend using Cell Defender, fiber, and the Trim Science, which is a drink mix. And there's about a dozen different substances in there that do everything from helping to raise your core basal temperature. So a lot of your calories is just maintaining core temperature. If you can raise your metabolism just a little bit, you're going to burn more calories. But also things that block starch, that help with appetite control, just all sorts of things that just help in the quest to be optimum in your weight. The thing I love about all of these products, using them, you're not feeling like, oh man, I'm really depriving myself. This is going to be hard. and then being on the rebound when you stop doing what you're doing. This is something you can get on these products, including the Trim Science, and just really enjoy it and just improve your day-to-day life and uh, feel better and lose weight as well. So these are our products. We're going to be coming out with a new one in April, and I wonder what that's going to be. Also, along that line is we have a cell defender and a relief formula made just for animals. Animals can use these human products as well, but we've got a nice animal line too for those.
Excellent, Dave. That's awesome. Now I just want you to, if you could talk about briefly, because you know these people really intimately well, about these people here that are on the slide.
All right. Well, if you come to the convention, you'll not only see the guys, but you'll see the gals. They're working real close with Avini, and I love that statement. These are people you can trust. Um, I've read a book once, and I talked about the speed of trust, and there's different levels of trust. As an example, I implicitly trust my wife, but I wouldn't trust her to perform neurosurgery on me. Uh, the thing I love about these guys is they're trustworthy in the regular terms of trust, but also they're competent. They're very good. And I've had experience with a lot of different companies over 40 plus years, and I think this is one of the most critical things is uh, the leadership. They make or break the company. And this is sadly of the 8 companies I've given my heart to, this is the first company that they're trustworthy and competent. And it's usually one or the other or neither. And so this is a really good feeling. So Rick, arguably, he's one of the leading biochemists in the world of formulations. He's got some of the very best stuff. Not a lot of biochemists create whole new categories that nobody's ever done before. Uh, just amazing, and he loves people. He's a genius, but he you can tell he really does care. Neil in the middle, Neil and Claire. Neil is just a genius. He's ran billion-dollar companies with thousands of stores in the normal corporate America change, working in corporate America area, working 70, 80 hours a week and getting burnout. He fell in love with network marketing in the 90s when he met Rick, when he joined the company Rexall and became a triple diamond. He's got an amazing background. He started out wanting to be an astronaut and went to West Point, and everything was going along that route. And then he had some knee injuries that pushed him out of that. And then he discovered he loves business and got into retail and wound up being a chief executive in multi-billion-dollar drugstore chains. And I think that's how he got attracted to Rexall, and then fell in love with network marketing because now you don't have to work 70 hours a week and just a much more fun lifestyle and being able to teach it to other people. That company sold to a Dutch conglomerate, and so they had about 10 years of good times, and then fell apart. Anyway, all of these people, they're just really good people. Doug Dickey, he's actually a friend I've known for over 30 years. And he's just the Energizer Bunny. He loves people, loves doing stuff, super passionate. He's had a personal health problem that was going on for many years, and Cell Defender fixed it. And so he became a Cell Defender missionary, and was a lot to do with everybody starting the company, because he's got this boundless energy, and he's just out there doing all the stuff to fill the gaps in between what Rick does as far as designing product and Neil managing the business, and Doug's out there in the field connecting and doing the marketing, and just a great combo. So yeah, people you can trust, products you can depend on. And the whole idea is all of these guys, they're super passionate about these products. They've personally been benefited. They've seen it happen and work for other people. So essentially our whole mission is just to make these products readily and dependably available for people that want them, and to build a sales team, and to love the sales team, pay them well and respect them. And that's essentially what it's all about.
Excellent, Dave. That is fantastic. Now, I just wanted to tell you guys there's two things that you could actually do. And Dave, I really appreciate because you've been with the company for a while. This is awesome because you've seen leaders and you've seen things go awry in other companies. I have the same feeling. I mean, this is probably my fifth company. I have the same feeling that there is nothing like this I have found. It's just like unbelievable. Thank you, sir. So there's two things you guys can do. You have some knowledge now about how you can help people and help yourself. So you can become a customer if you want to, or become a distributor. And both are equally good. So what happens if you become a distributor? We have these packages. These are one-time packages. These are way lower than wholesale cost. And I would suggest, because you have families and so forth, get the biggest package that you can afford, because you will love the products. And guess what? There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if it didn't work for you in 30 days, you could get all your money back. So that's my recommendation for you guys. And I thank you very much, Dave, for your participation. You're a star. You're a leader. You're knowledgeable. You're a science geek. You love it all. I thank you for attending, sir. It's my honor to be with you.
Fun to work with you.